I really don't have a way to start this video. Really the only thing that I can feel like is appropriate to say is that I have thought about doing this for the past 2 years, and the reason that I didn't get around to at least making sure that I would actually go through with it until now is because every time that I have sat down to film this video, or I have thought about sitting down to film this video, there was always this voice in the back of my head where I second guessed myself. And I'll go into this obviously later, but my whole life I was taught that what was happening to me was normal, okay, and happens to anybody with a sibling. The first time I spoke about this in 2015, I made a video journal, and I originally made, if you've been around since then, I originally started those video journals, which basically videos me venting about my problems, was because, well, the very first one that I did when I first spoke about Patrick, it was the second one that I ever did, but the first one, the whole reason I started doing them was because at the time I was in love with a person who was or at least I thought was my best friend at the time, and it was incredibly hard for me to deal with, so I literally sat down and I vented to a camera. And in the first two, I know definitely the first one I cried. And the second one, that was the first time that I spoke out, at least on the internet, about Patrick. And I'm sure some of you remember, and I know that when that was the first time I ever spoke about my sibling being abusive, a lot of you were shocked, and a lot of you were very, very supportive. And then of course we all know, I made the video, the first one I ever did with my red hair, which is a video called I Am Free. And when I made that video, there are some things that I would change about it. First of all, I literally filmed that video the day that my brother was moving out of the house that I still live in today. Also, I wish I didn't put such instrumentals behind my words. I thought at the time with editing, and I hadn't been trained in any film or editing or anything at all by then. That was my first, well, I had a little bit, but I was about to start my second year in CDS TV, but I thought that you needed background music for everything, and there are just some things, like obviously my videos today have absolutely no background music. So I wish I hadn't put that in there so that I feel like you could hear more of what I'm saying, and I feel like it's easier to take me seriously even though I'm talking about something that's very serious. And I think that is still one of the most important videos to date that I've ever created in my life. However, I feel that this one is even more important. To date, I don't know if there'll be a more important video than this one, but I feel like this one is even more important than I Am Free, and even I Am Free Part 2. I Am Free Part 2 is obviously a follow-up to that video. I just feel like I want one video where I literally explain everything from the very beginning of this in my young years as a toddler up to now, end of July 2018, I'm 19 years old, and what's happening with me, and what I would like to do about the situation, at least coming in the next couple of years in my life. I'm going to be answering some questions that I got also after that video, and if you also have been around for a while, you may know that in 2016, spring of 2016, I created a film called The Victor where I adapted my situation into a short film. Some of you had questions, I had friends and family who had questions. I never publicly answered the questions. To some friends I have answered those questions. And on the subject of my friends, there are some people who have known me for a really long time that I know will see this video. I have explained this situation in detail, everything I'm about to talk about. I have explained to my close friends or friends that I know are like family to me. Obviously, since Eric is my boyfriend, I have also explained this to him. However, if you are just a follower of mine, you have not paid attention to my personal life, and you do come across this video, I just want to give you a giant thank you, because I know it's not fun sitting down. I know this video is going to be very, very long because I know I'm going to go into as much detail as possible. I know that some people who either don't know me at all, I have a good feeling that I will be sending this video to my therapist because I just got a new therapist and I literally cannot type out the situation to her. I feel like just doing this in one video, it will be really cathartic for me, and I can just finally answer questions that people again in my life have always asked me. You guys have asked me since I first spoke out about this, and I need this video to be made, but every time I've tried to make it, there's always this voice in the back of my head that says don't do it. But you know what? For the next however long I'm here, fuck that voice in the back of my head. Because again, I've wanted to do this for a long time, and I really feel like I can't make another video. I can't do anything else with my own mental health anything else until this video is made. I just want to sit down and talk about it. And also, I want to make it clear, I don't feel the need to answer questions because I feel pressure from you guys, but I just want everything explained and everything understood, just so we're all aware and what the fuck is happening. And if you're wondering why I first started talking about my own abusive situation, is because for a while, like, I didn't know that I was being abused. And when I found out that I was being abused, I did not feel comfortable for a very long time publicly talking about it, not just on the internet, to people I knew. So I may be uncomfortable. I know that there's times that I will not be able to look at the camera like I am right now. I'm not going to be able to look at the camera during a lot of this video because I know that it's going to be kind of hard to look at me because I know I'm probably going to get upset when I talk about some things. But this video just needs to be made. And I know I put a disclaimer in the beginning, but just again, if anything that I'm about to talk about makes you uncomfortable, fuck, sorry. If anything that I'm talking about today makes you uncomfortable, if you can't watch this video for whatever reason, or if you just don't have the time, or if you don't care, that's fine with me. If you can watch this or you want to, if you're willing to take the time out of your life to just listen to what I have to say, thank you so much. Because this is something very important to me and I'm ready to talk about everything. So I guess I should start from the beginning. So if you were not been around or you have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, hi, hello, my name's Haley. And I did not realize for most of my life that my older sibling, my older brother specifically, physically, mentally, and emotionally abused me for most of my life. I don't remember exactly when the abuse started. The earliest memories that I have of my family, mainly my brother and I together, are us getting along and being friendly with each other. However, I remember that my years in kindergarten to first grade is where it stopped being friendly. Now, the biggest thing that people have asked me or like have wondered about when I talk about this is that because I started being abused so young, and my brother's only barely 2.5 years older than me, so we were both minors when the abuse started. People have asked me, is a minor really capable of abuse, especially when you two were so young? And to answer that question, I don't have an exact answer for that. All I know is that the way I was treated was inappropriate. It should have been changed. It should have been disciplined, and it continued on for a very long time. Also, I feel like it's going to be very important for you guys to know. I'm not going to explain exactly what my parents do for a living. My parents have had different jobs, obviously, throughout my life, but my parents have always had jobs that required them to travel a lot. So my parents were mainly, like, they were obviously around for some parts of my life, like, but when the abuse would occur, it would occur when at least one or both of my parents were out of town. We had a babysitter, or when my brother was old enough to watch me, it was just the two of us. When I did have a babysitter, I don't want to say her name, but she did notice that, because we mainly had one babysitter throughout all of this, she lived right across the street from us. She noticed lots of things about our relationship with one another. He had broken one of my doorknobs. He's broken a lot of things in doors that I've had on my room. He would mistreat me in front of her. She would try to protect me, I remember, a lot of times from him, and she would try to discipline him, and it was just this ongoing thing. And then again, eventually he became old enough to watch me, and I felt kind of guilty when I got older, and I'm like, wow, she had to witness and deal with a lot of the bullshit that was going on in my own house. Be specific with the way that I was treated, and I'm gonna just give detail for context. I'm not gonna, obviously, I don't remember every exact situation since I was 5 years old up until now, because just so much has happened and I can't keep track. But whenever the abusive situation would occur, or whenever I would be abused, when it was physical, it was either I was being kicked, I was being punched, I was being slapped in various parts of my body. I remember one time he punched me so hard that my nose started to bleed. He would scratch me. It was just different things. He would try to wrestle me. I remember he almost choked me one time. More of the physical stuff was when we were younger, because he could get away with saying that it was roughhousing. But the way that I look on it now, it was never roughhousing, it was never playing, it was never wrestling, it was meant to hurt me, and I felt scared and I felt abused. The feeling of abuse was never something that occurred to me when I was a kid, because I grew up in a really religious environment and my parents were awkward. I was never taught about abuse, I was never taught about what was appropriate with me. And people ask, well, why didn't your parents step in and do anything? Oh, again, my parents were gone a lot when we were kids. But also, it was this ongoing battle. They tried to discipline him, and eventually my parents literally admitted to giving up, and it was just like, say you're sorry and move on. It was mainly more emotional and mental from after my parents got divorced in 2009. It was harder for him to be physically abusive to me. Not that he completely stopped after my parents got divorced. When my mom moved out in 2009, very late 2009, like early 2010, I lived in obviously 2 separate homes. I lived in a very small townhouse, mainly with my mom since my dad traveled a lot for work, so we mainly stayed at least at her house even when she was gone or when she was at work. Summer break, I used to absolutely dread, because even though I was bullied in school a lot, so a part of me was like, yay, I'm not around the people who are bullying me anymore, but also, like, fuck, like, I'm gonna be nothing, like, I have to be around my abuser 24/7 now. Because I didn't leave the house, I was way too young to go anywhere. The mental and emotional abuse was what really catered to me having depression, anxiety, and self-esteem issues and body issues almost all my life. I didn't really recognize that I had depression until, again, my parents got divorced. My brother blamed my parents' divorce entirely on me. I made my mom depressed. I made her want to dump my dad. Everything was my fault. This led to me, unfortunately, having my first suicide attempt. I had my second one in this townhouse that I lived in with him and my mom. I don't even remember what he was angry about this day, but he was just angry. He was calling me every name in the book. Basically, if I did one thing wrong, if I did just one thing wrong, I was the biggest cunt in the universe, and I was a bitch, I was a stupid slut, whatever he could pull out of himself. He wishes that I was never born. He wishes that he was an only child. That his life would just be so much better if I didn't exist. So I tried to not exist. I just thought that this life, that even though I was afraid of death and I was afraid if death would hurt, that maybe everything would just be better if I was gone. That led to my second suicide attempt. After my second suicide attempt failed, I just gave up. I'm like, maybe I'm just supposed to live a horrible, miserable life. Maybe I can't even have death. Maybe I can't even have the peace of death. Then my mom switched me out of a school that I was in for a really long time. She moved me to a different school where I was actually around people that cared about me. I stopped being bullied. I gained friends that some of them I'm still friends with to this day. And when I would describe my brother to my friends in school, I would never say abuse. I never mentioned that my brother was abusive until high school. Because when I would describe the situation with my brother, like obviously abuse is a very strong word, I don't use that word lightly here. When I would first say, oh, my brother's really mean, and I would describe the way that he would treat me. A lot of the time what would be said back to me, either from, again, kids my own age, my friends, or other people, even adults, it's like, oh, you guys must butt heads a lot, you guys must have a sibling rivalry, or my sibling was the same way. So that's why almost my entire life I was like just taught to learn, oh, the way he's treating you is normal. Kicking you, punching you, slapping you, calling you a bitch, saying that you're a fat, ugly slut that no one is ever going to love is normal. And that he'll eventually get over it. You two will go closer or whatever. Why should I forgive that? Why should I be okay with that? And again, when I got into this new school, this was 7th and 8th grade, my brother was in high school by now. He was a freshman when I was in 6th grade, so he was a junior when I was in 8th grade, sophomore when I was in 7th grade. So my brother knew better. My brother was 15, 16, 17 years old. And I know that not all kids are the same, but I feel like a 15, 16, 17-year-old would know better than to treat a younger person like that for no reason, to result to physical violence and talking to a person like that just for being angry. He was actually a friend that I met in 7th and 8th grade, and when I came to terms with the fact that I was being abused, and this is a situation that I'm going to describe very specifically, this was during fall break of my freshman year of high school. This was a friend that I had for 6 years of my life. We are no longer friends for reasons that are completely unrelated to this, but I still look back on our friendship as someone that I love and care about. I don't know what was happening this day. I just remember this was October my freshman year. This friend, she was still in 8th grade at my old school. We had not seen each other in months. We were very close though. I don't know what he was angry about this day. I just remember that he was angry about something. I ran up here to my room. In this room, I had moved out of that townhouse in 2013. Actually, no, I moved out in 2012, and then I adopted Molly in 2013. That's what I'm thinking of. So this was, yeah, this was 2013, fall of 2013. He was angry about something, and whenever he was angry, I always run to my room. The reason that so many of my doors have been broken or damaged is because I run to my room and he tries to break in to get me. So actually the door that I have now is not my door. My door is his door, and the reason for that is because for whatever reason he was angry. I don't remember. I ran in here and I locked my door. For a long time I did not have a lock on any of my previous doors, but this one I did have a lock on. So I locked it, as most people probably would. I just realized that there was a thing on my shirt. Whoops. I locked the door and he just started banging on it, and I actually hid over here in my closet. I had my laptop with me in my closet and I just hid in there. He was banging and banging on my door, and he kept claiming that I needed to unlock the door because he was worried about me, because he wanted to make sure that I was okay. Keep in mind, my brother, I was a freshman, so yeah, my brother was a senior in high school now. This was a couple months before I know he turned 18. And at this time, if I was a freshman, that means that, yeah, this was a month before my 18th, not my 18th, my 15th birthday. I'm getting everything mixed up. So a month before I turned 15, a couple months before he turns 18. Hiding in my closet, he keeps banging on my door because he's worried about me. So to drown out, and my mom was not home during any of this, she was at work. So I'm hiding in my closet, I have my laptop. I immediately opened my laptop and to drown out, and I remember this very specifically, I turn on my laptop to drown out the noise of him banging on my door. I start playing Demons by Imagine Dragons. When this song became popular, I immediately identified with it, because I felt like that I had to hide my depression, I had to hide my anxiety, because every time I went to my parents for help, and I didn't say abuse to my parents beforehand, I just said, I'm tired of Patrick being mean to me, and I'm tired of him taking out his anger on me. I asked my parents after he turned 18, which I'll later get to, but I eventually asked them, can you please have him go to therapy so he stops being mean to me? And he was mean to them too. He wasn't as mean to them as he was to me, but he was mean to them too. I keep saying mean because that's the only word I can use with them. But anyway, I'm hiding in the closet. I'm blasting Demons by Imagine Dragons just to drown him out, and he keeps banging and banging and banging on my door. And I just want it to stop. I just want him to go away, and he won't go away. And he eventually just starts body slamming into my door to break it open. And he keeps saying, if you don't open the door, I'm gonna break it down. And he keeps body slamming into my door. And I don't want him to break another one of my doors, because if he breaks another one of my doors, I can't hide from him anymore. Again. So I asked him, and this is how I do, I recognize it's so manipulative now that I'm older and I know better. And I asked him, will you stop slamming on my door if I just open it? And he says yes, and I really wish I didn't, because I get out of, and I want to just emphasize here, this is not what my room looked like when this happened. If you really remember my old videos, I had a twin bed back here that faced this way. I didn't have this bed yet. Over here is my door. My bed was back here, so I get up and I open the door, and at first I thought he was just gonna stop. I wasn't really sure what to expect, but now that I'm older, I knew what was gonna happen now. So as soon as I unlocked the door, I didn't open it. He slammed the door open, he forced it open so much that the very end of the bottom of the door scraped across my big toe, and it started to bleed a little bit. Then right after that, he screamed at me, "You're a stupid fucking cunt," and he pushed me back on my shoulders all the way back, which he tried to do, which is here at the floor, but I managed to grab my bed so I didn't completely land on the floor. And I asked him, why did you do that? What is your problem? And he just starts insulting me, and I have no idea what he was so angry about. He's like, you shouldn't have locked the door, you're not allowed to lock this door in your house, it's disrespectful to mom, it's disrespectful to me, you shouldn't disrespect me like that. And I just remember thinking, how am I supposed to respect you when you call me all these names every single day of my life, when you have made it very clear you don't give a fuck about me, and you're banging on my door, you were never concerned about me, you and I both know that. And he's like, you know what, yeah, I was never concerned about you, you're a stupid fucking cunt, and I wish you were never born, now go fucking die. And then he spat on me. And then he just walked away, and then I realized that my door would not close. My knob was damaged. Because my knob was damaged, I couldn't close my door all the way, so I literally tried to close the door as much as I could, and I laid with my back against it. My mom was not going to come home for hours, so I literally just spent the rest of the day in my room. So I called my friend, who I had been friends with for a long time, and even though we hadn't seen each other or spoken to each other in months, I literally had no idea who else to fucking talk to. I'm like, she had met my brother once and she never liked him. So I called her and I literally spilled my guts. I told her everything about today, and I told her, I'm like, I'm so sick of being treated like this every single fucking day. I hate being alive, and high school had really not started out well for me. I had no friends. I was failing every single class that I had. Like, freshman year was one of the hardest years that I've ever lived. And I told her, I'm like, I hate high school. I don't like being here. I miss you, and I want to... Like, I want to go back to the way everything was, and I'm like, I don't know why he hates me. I don't know why he hates me. And she told me, she's like, she asked me, and she's like, why does he treat you like this? Why does he feel the need to treat you like this? I said, I don't know. I don't remember a time that I felt love for my brother, and I don't know if he's ever felt that for me, because I know he hates me. And then after saying that, she said to me, she's like, look, I don't know what's actually going on between you guys, but he doesn't treat you like a sibling. Like, this is not normal. And I knew then too, I'm like, this is not some sibling rivalry. This is not just us butting heads or playing around. Like, the way that I'm being treated is not okay. So this goes on for months. In March of 2014, I asked my parents if he can just go see a therapist so something can happen for him to stop treating me like this. My brother was 18 at this point, so they couldn't force him. So he never went to therapy. And in March of that year, I had my third suicide attempt because a friend unintentionally talked me out of it, but that has just always stuck with me. And I have told my parents about my suicide attempts, and I told them why I was suicidal. I said, my brother makes me want to kill myself because of the way he treated me. And I tried to kill myself because of the way he treated me. And to this day, my parents do not take me or the things that I have told them seriously, because my brother continues to visit after moving out. They continue to try to make us have a relationship with one another, even though I have made it very clear that we are not going to have a relationship with one another. But after I made the I am free video, I sent them the video. I don't know if they have watched it now, but I know that my parents immediately told me that I need to shut the fuck up because I'm overreacting. I came to the conclusion that I was being abused, that what was actually happening to me was abuse, because after telling this to my friends that I gained in my sophomore year of high school, I made a whole bunch of new friends in my sophomore year of high school, I told them the way that I was being treated. And a bunch of them told me, like, Haley, like, that's not normal, like, that's something else. And then it was two friends that directly told me, like, Haley, like, I think you're being, like, abused at home. After thinking about it for a long time, I came to that conclusion that, yes, I was being abused. That's when I made the decision to go public about it. Because for my whole life I was told that I was overreacting, that I'm just a drama queen, that we just have a sibling rivalry, right? That all siblings act like this. After I made those videos, my brother moved out. He continued to make visits. My parents, still to this day again, just don't give a fuck. They refuse to acknowledge everything that I have told them. I have told them, again, details and situations where I have been mistreated. The last time my brother physically hit me was my sophomore year. He punched me in my legs because I was watching a movie and he tried to get my attention. So he decided to lay on me as a result of this, and my brother had broken his nose from a sport that he was playing like a month before this, so he had to have surgery to fix his nose. I told him to get off of me. He would not get off of me. So by doing this, I started to push and kick him off of me to get him off of me. And this resulted in me accidentally hitting his nose, which that was actually not intentional. And then as a result of hitting in his nose, that was a month after recovery of having nose surgery, he began to punch me in my legs, and I just sat there and I just took it. Because I literally didn't know what to do. And again, my parents are not around, and I told them after it happened. And it's always like, well, I wasn't there, so I can't believe you, because he would say it never happened, and I said it did, And it's always, well, we weren't there, so we don't know who to believe, so let's just move on from it. And it makes me so angry now. Like, it used to make me so sad back then, but now it makes me angry now that I'm an adult and I understand, like, these situations. And, like, that's what pisses me off when people like me come forward and they're explaining the situations. Because, again, I feel them when it's like for a long time I couldn't talk about this because I felt like when I would, everyone would not believe me and tell me to shut the fuck up. And I feel for those people. And yeah, I'm sure, like, all these situations, like, after fucking Harvey Weinstein, Kevin Spacey, all these motherfuckers. That's why I feel for those people for coming out and telling their stories. Because I know what it's like to finally have the fucking guts to tell about this horrible either event or series of events that have happened to you with these people, and a bunch of people saying, well, I don't believe you, so you're wrong, fuck off. I have to live with that every day. As far as how it affects my personal life now, I still live at home with my parents, and he still visits. My brother just came for a visit, and I had to pretend that we were friendly, that there was nothing wrong, and everything's fine. And he's tried to get on my nerves this visit around, and I stood up for myself, and of course I was just told to calm down because I'm overreacting. So as far as my plan for this is that within the next year, I want to move out. I have wanted to move out of living with my parents since I was 14 years old. And 6 years later, that is still desperately what I want. So many people are like, oh, I don't want to grow up, I don't want to be an adult. I have the desire to grow up and pay my own bills, pay my own rent. I have wanted to just have my own space and my own things again since I was 13, 14 years old. That is what has made me happy. I know some people feel like that's too much, like that's too soon to be an adult. I have wanted that, and I've been mentally prepared for that for a long time. The reason I haven't moved out since I turned 18 is because I needed to graduate from high school. I took a year off just to work and just to live my life. And now I'm about to start college, and I realized I can't live the next 4 years of my life at home. I can't live like this anymore. I can't pretend that nothing happened to me anymore. I can't pretend that there's nothing wrong. So as far as what I want to do about this is that so I want to answer some questions. Some people have asked, why did I never call the cops? And again, part of it is that I was taught for a very long time that this was normal. And if I were to call the cops, all I can give them is a statement. And I also felt like the cops wouldn't really believe me because, let's just all be fucking honest, I was just taught by adults whenever I would tell anybody, it's like, oh, you just have sibling rivalry. Because again, when I would reach out for help, I was told over and over again that what was happening to me was normal or it didn't matter. So I didn't believe a cop would believe me. Also, my brother is trained to be a police officer, so it's just a really iffy area for me. People who know about the situation, again, are my close friends. Eric knows. Anyone who I feel like should know as much detail as possible knows. So again, in 2016, in spring, Natalie and I created The Victor because this was a few months after I came out, so to speak, about my abuse. And creatively, that's what I felt like doing. Now, I want to stress something about The Victor. It is not a detail for detail adaptation of my situation. If you watch the film, the actress Hannah, she does play me, and Natalie does play Patrick. And I do reference to our relationship throughout the entire film. When people asked why were there no, like, parental figures in this film, and that was to just represent the absence of my own parental figures. Some people asked, why do I feel the need for my brother to die or be killed, or why do I feel joy if my brother was gone? I don't really feel that now. I feel like then I really felt that. But do I feel that if he were to die or pass away anytime soon, would I feel sad? No, I'd feel relief. I don't know if I'd feel joy, but I'd feel relief. I'd feel safer. I feel like the world would be a much better place without him. And if you disagree with me on that, fucking feel free. But that's just me because I'm the victim and my own feelings are what matters to me at the end of the day. When I say victim, I mean the victim of abuse. To be fucking correct here, because I know there's some people out there who like to tell me how much of, again, how overreacting I am, especially after that film came out. How I should never speak about that, how it was so disgusting that I would want a sibling to die after mistreating, even though I made it very clear in the film that it was just not a spur-of-the-moment thing, that Hannah, the character, was being abused. There are things that I would redo about that film creatively, but do I regret making that film? Absolutely not. It helped me grow up a lot, and again, I brought up a conversation, not just in CDSU, but with the own people that I have in my life. Any person who has told me that I need to shut the fuck up about my abuse and that I'm lying about my abuse situation and that I'm making it up for attention, is no longer in my life, and I realized that those kind of people who said that to me in the first place were really, really shitty people in the first place, and I'm not friends with them. I haven't made videos about the situation because I, again, didn't feel completely comfortable going full deep dive and everything for a long time. But also, I just don't like making people feel sad. I don't like feeling sad. I don't. But ever since I've been open about this conversation online, ever since I brought this up to my own online community, first of all, you guys have been incredibly supportive of me, and I cannot thank you enough for that. But also, some of you have had the courage to come forward to me about your own situations, and I continue to talk about it and to spread this message because people won't know, or how could they know better or know what abuse is like I did. I didn't know that I was being abused for a very long time because no one taught me what abuse actually is. So we need to continue that conversation with everybody, and we need to teach people right from wrong, like how it is appropriate to teach people, and if someone doesn't treat you the way that you should be treated, they need to get the fuck away from you. So as far as my plan is in my life in regards to my own abuse, again, I plan to move out within the next year. After I move out, my brother will not know where I live. He will have absolutely no contact with me. My parents will never make me be around him ever again. The only reason that I have to be around him now is because they bring him around me. I don't ask to be around him. He doesn't ask questions about me. If it were up to me, and it pisses me off that this is the way that shit is, when Eric and I started dating, I wanted to make sure that they would never, at least for as long as I could for them, have to meet. But literally the first time Eric came over to my house, unintentionally, they met. I never felt the need for any person that I would ever romantically be involved with, the need to actually meet my abuser. Like, obviously I would tell them about everything, like I have told Eric about this, but I don't feel the need for my abuser and whoever I'm romantically involved with to actually know each other in person. There's just no reason for it. I feel uncomfortable about it. Not that Eric can't handle himself in case anything would happen. Nothing has. I hope nothing fucking does. But it's not like, hey, sweetie, do you want to meet the person who made me want to kill myself 3 times in my life? Friends that I have told about him, like, they know everything. Some of my friends, unfortunately, have met him, and, like, they can tell, like, right away, like, yeah, this guy's bad news. So, like I said, I recently gained a new therapist, and I have thought about getting through this video for a long time, and I most likely will be sending this video to her. I just hope that she doesn't get too scared when I tell her about this, because I feel like a lot of people just aren't ready for this. So that's where I am right now. Again, I have a new therapist, and I'm explaining all of my mental health struggles to her. Dealing with PTSD from this and dealing with PTSD from another thing in my life has also been a struggle. I first went to therapy for PTSD from, again, another situation, but after going through therapy with my former therapist, and after we just started talking about everything, it became very clear that I also have PTSD from my abusive situation. And that is something that I will continue to deal with mainly for the rest of my life. I want to assure everybody, because I'm sure everyone know, even though my brother comes to visit, you don't have to worry about me. I can handle my own. I do talk to a therapist. I have a supportive group of people that do care about me. Even if my parents don't in regards to my abuse. I'm going to be starting school soon, and I've always believed in the thought of, if you set goals for yourself, if you really work hard for it, you will get it, and I'm going to work to move out on my own this year. That's what I plan to do. That is something I've wanted for a very long time, and I feel like I'm finally going to be in a place where I can actually do that and live a healthy, beautiful life on my own. I would like to thank you guys for sitting down and listening to what I have to say. I know this is not a fun, happy subject to talk about, but I do appreciate you sitting here with me. I promise my next video will not be really sad and fucked up, but it feels good to finally talk about this. It really does. And I just want to say, if you are in any kind of situation like I was in, I feel you. You can have a beautiful, safe life, and if you are experiencing something and you need, I will put down sources if you are suicidal, or you feel you need to self-harm, or if you just need to talk to somebody, or you need help in any way, shape, or form. I will put sources down below so you can talk to somebody to help yourself out. I don't believe anybody should have to live in any kind of situation where they don't feel safe and comfortable and cared for. Just a reminder, I love every single one of you, and you guys are partly the reason why I'm here today, and I can never thank you enough for that. If there's a question I didn't answer in this video, you can always leave it down below, and I think that's where I'm gonna wrap this up, because I just feel like I've said enough. Thank you guys for watching this video, and thank you for listening to what I have to say.